Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the Youth Advisory Council presentation at CoreCon 26. We're excited to share who we are, what we've been working on this year, and how youth voices are shaping the future of CORES and the broader service movement. This council represents young people from across the country, and today we want to highlight their experiences, their priorities, and the impact they're already having. We're glad you're here and can't wait to walk you through our work. And with that, I'll turn it over to Emma to go over today's agenda.
Thanks, Megan. So today we're going to be discussing the Core Member Advisory Council and how it began, their youth policy agenda that they came up with, and have two of the council members go over their different sections of the youth policy agenda, and then we will have time for questions at the end.
Great. Now we'll go over a bit of the background of the council. So the Core Member Advisory Council was formed because we noticed there was a gap in our advocacy work. We advocate for CORES and their members, but we never consulted the core members on the issues that matter to them most. The CORE Network participates in several coalitions that are focused on serving opportunity youth. And the topic of youth participation in each organization's policy agenda is frequently discussed. At that time, the CORE Network did not offer an opportunity for core members to be able to provide input on the policy agenda that directly affected them. So we formed this advisory council as a way for core members to hear directly from the CORE Network regarding our current advocacy work, as well as give them an opportunity to share their thoughts on these advocacy issues.
So we formed the council in 2025 with our 2025 Core Members of the Year as our initial cohort. As our pilot cohort, we mapped out quarterly meetings and met a total of 5 times to develop the youth policy agenda. The core members were originally intended to serve for 2 years, and the second year would be a year to help them guide the following year's cohort of core members of the year into the council.
The goal of the council was to provide a way for core members' voices to be heard directly in the advocacy that impacts them. This presentation is a culmination of the work of the council over the last year. Today, the council members will exercise their leadership skills by sharing the youth policy agenda that they created. On the screen are the main bullet points of the youth policy agenda that the council's put together. They will go into depth about each bullet point throughout the presentation. The bullet points of the presentation are flexibility around usage of AmeriCorps Siegel Education Award, increased living allowance, increased funding for supportive services, and increased awareness of service and conservation corps as well as AmeriCorps.
All right, so as we mentioned, our council members are the 2025 Core Members of the Year, so some of them might sound familiar. We're going to have each of them briefly introduce themselves and then discuss their specific part of the youth policy agenda. Only 2 of the council members are with us today. So to begin, I will be handing it over to Baylin Race to start.
Is Belen. I am the Core Member of the Year for 2025 for the San Jose Conservation Corps. I am currently the enrollment specialist at the charter school here at the Corps, and I am a graduate from the same exact charter school, so I'm very proud of that. This agenda that we developed was directly developed by Corps members and young people who have served in AmeriCorps or have completed their time in AmeriCorps. Our recommendations reflect real-life challenges we face transitioning from service to adulthood today in society. And this goal is to ensure that AmeriCorps benefits meet core members where they are at and not where the policy assumes they should be at. The Education Award should reflect how young people actually learn and work today. So these are some of the recommendations and some of the things we found very valuable. The Education Award is one of the most valuable benefits, but it doesn't work for everyone. Many core members finish service without plans for traditional college or job training. And when this award cannot be used, it becomes a missed opportunity instead of a meaningful benefit. Some recommendations we have is to expand beyond traditional college use, to support workforce training, trade schools, and certifications, allow tutoring and foundational skill development, offer choice, whether it's cash, stipend, or an education award. I can't stress how amazing it would be to make it really flexible. It would make it more equitable for core members who have different financial realities. This choice would allow members to address immediate needs instead of long-term goals or the other way around. It could help them do long-term goals instead of immediate needs. And when the benefits match the real life scenarios or situations, fewer awards will go unused and more core members will succeed after their success. And I think if we can increase student loan repayment, it would help a lot of young adults today. And then my next policy recommendation with this opportunity is to continue to increase funding for support services. As a recipient of these services myself, I was able to live out in the tiny homes, and I had stability for the first time in my life. So I can't stress how important it is to continue to support these youth with housing, the cost of living, transportation access, especially in rural areas where that may only be public transportation may be the only option for them, or walking or biking, and employment readiness and career connections, especially for those who this may be their only teaching spot. So it would be very important for them to continue to receive services or expand them. And I think some recommendations we made were just continuing to provide transportational assistance, mental health and wellness support, housing and food assistance, childcare when applicable or if allowable. And then to ensure members can fully participate and succeed, we think these support services would really help with that. And I'll pass it on to Logan for the next talk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Logan Nickel. I am one of the 2025 Core Member of the Year recipients, and currently am from the Heart of Oregon Corps based out in Oregon. On the main thing that we want to address with the youth policy agenda is we want to help with the increased living allowance, as many have noticed. With the inflation rising in our country, it has become increasingly well acknowledged that many of our members are suffering with all the increased basic prices of our basic needs. So we want to advocate for increased AmeriCorps living allowance, aligning to the metro level cost of living. We want to be able to have increased living allowance to help core members in the future to support themselves and decrease their reliance on the SNAP benefits that we use today. We also want to be able to provide increased awareness to the hold up one sec. Want to help and increased awareness of service and conservation corps and /AmeriCorps. Many people are not aware of the corps that operate around the country. We want to address this by increasing the awareness of the Corps and AmeriCorps as much as we can. Fun fact, Heart of Oregon Corps has been around for 25 years, but many locals really don't know what the program really is about and what it stands for. I will pass it on to Megan and end things off here.
Thank you so much, Logan and Bailyn. That was great. Logan and Bailyn and our entire Youth Advisory Council has been really instrumental in forming this youth policy agenda and developing their leadership skills over the last year. Thank you so much. We'll now open the floor to any questions.